Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Meteorologist Griffin Hardy here at the top of the hour, tracking what is now Hurricane Helene. That is as of the 11 o'clock advisory. Tropical storm Helene has strengthened into a hurricane. The center of the storm is just off the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula, and a lot of the heavy rain from it is already extending as far north as the Florida Keys and just off the west coast of Florida. Winds up to 80 miles per hour now. The waters in the Gulf of Mexico are really warm in the mid to upper 80s, so it's expected to strengthen up to a Category 3 hurricane by tomorrow morning and will likely make landfall as a Category 3 hurricane in northwestern Florida tomorrow evening. What happens afterwards as it moves inland is it's going to bring some pretty significant impacts our way here in the upstate, because we're going to be in that right front quadrant of the storm where the heaviest of the rain and the strongest of the winds will be. We're going to have some pretty big impacts headed our way early Friday morning. That looks to be when the worst of the weather is headed our way. There are some heavy downpours out there now across western North Carolina. This is not related to Helene. We had an upper level trough towards our northwest. That's part of why we had strong to severe storms here in Greenville last night. Tropical storm watch in effect for the entirety of the area until late Saturday morning. That's because the wind gusts could be as high as essentially tropical storm force winds on the order of 50 to 60 miles per hour. Most of that will be tomorrow night into Friday morning. So let's talk about the time frame for it. For the rest of the night tonight, any of the showers and storms that we do see could be on the stronger side, but they're not going to be necessarily related to Helene itself. Still mostly coming from that upper level trough towards the northwest. Heavy rain will start moving in early tomorrow morning across the western half of the area. That's where we could start to see some flooding issues, and it really doesn't let up for most of the day Thursday. But again, that's not really the worst of the weather. Most of that starts to come in tomorrow night and into Friday morning. Zooming in a little bit tighter as we head into Friday morning, there's that center of the storm moving through central Georgia by around 4 to 5 a.m. Friday. Then here's when the worst of it will be happening at around 6 to 7 o'clock in the morning. Again, we're in that right front quadrant where the winds are really, really strong and the rain is really, really heavy. This is definitely not the time that you want to be out and about as early Friday morning. The good news is once we get past Friday morning, the center of the storm is passing really close to us. But then once we get to Friday afternoon, we're mostly going to be on the back side of it. So again, Thursday night, Friday morning, that's when the worst of the weather from Helene should be moving through our area. The rainfall totals, they look really high for our area. Substantial amounts of rain will be headed our way, especially towards Oconee County, up towards Haywood and Transylvania counties, upwards of a foot of rain possible in this shade of white that you see here. It looks like the mountains and the western half of the upstate and northeast Georgia will most likely get the highest rainfall amounts from this. As far as wind gusts go, again, it'll be a little breezy the rest of the day today. Into the day tomorrow, still kind of windy, but the worst of the power outages I don't think will set in until early Friday morning. Here's 1 a.m. Friday, wind gusts on the order of 25 to 35 miles per hour. Then it really ramps up Friday, 4 a.m. we're up to 40 to 50 miles per hour. Again, 6 to 7 a.m. we're bordering on that high-end tropical storm force of wind gusts on the order of 65 to 70 miles per hour potentially. That's according to our in-house high-res forecast model. So we're really going to have to be careful about trees getting knocked down, power outages. Make sure you have an emergency supply kit ready to go. This is the bottom line. Make sure you have a supply of possibly a generator, have all your essentials that you need on hand just in case you lose power, because we need to be prepared for widespread prolonged power outages. And if a flash flood warning is issued, make sure you seek higher ground. If you can help it, never drive through floodwaters. Always remember, turn around, don't drown. We'll have another update for you coming up at the top of the hour at 2 o'clock on Helene, coming up right here on WYFF News 4. We'll see you then.
We now join our regularly scheduled program already in progress.
Hi, everyone. It's 2 o'clock. Good afternoon. Meteorologist Griffin Hardy here with another update on Helene. Just got the 2 o'clock advisory from the National Hurricane Center, holding at 80-mile-per-hour winds in a Category 1 hurricane. This is a really large storm. The rain stretches from the center of circulation all the way up to the Florida Keys in southwestern Florida now. And the forecast track for it still looks like it's going to be a Category 3 hurricane at landfall in northwestern Florida by Thursday, tomorrow evening. But then what happens afterwards will bring some some pretty substantial impacts our way in the upstate and western North Carolina as that center of circulation passes to our west in Georgia. That puts us on the quote-unquote dirty side of the storm. The right front quadrant is where normally the worst of the weather is with most landfalling tropical systems, and that looks to be where we'll be with this storm. There's some rain happening out there now, really heavy rain across far western North Carolina. This is technically not associated with Helene. This is thanks to a cold front, and over the rest of the afternoon and into the early evening, that will remain the case. We'll still see heavy rain across northeast Georgia and far western North Carolina, but again, the worst of the weather from the actual hurricane doesn't get here until Friday morning. For the rest of the evening tonight, just going to be more occasional on-again, off-again showers and thunderstorms, maybe some isolated brief strong winds. But again, it doesn't really start to pick up the pace until late Thursday evening. But for tomorrow morning, we're still going to wake up to some really heavy rain with a kind of combination between the cold front and the hurricane. And then once we get to tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, that's where pretty much it's fully because of the hurricane that we're seeing a lot of this heavy rain. The rain looks to be on again, off again throughout the day Thursday. Into Thursday nights, you see the center of circulation getting closer and closer. And again, it's going to pass right through the center of Georgia, and we'll be on the right front side of that storm. If you're driving Friday morning, I probably would avoid it if you can. Check out 6 a.m. Friday. Absolute just, visibility near zero is what we're looking at for early Friday morning. Wind gusts on the order of 50 to 60 miles per hour, possibly up to 70 miles per hour. And I think luckily by the time we get to Friday afternoon, the worst of it will be past us. But here's the bottom line. Make sure you have an emergency kit ready to go. Have some emergency supplies in the form of, extra cash, extra prescriptions, maybe some extra gas in your car, because you need to be prepared for widespread prolonged power outages whenever wind gusts are in the order of 60, 70 miles per hour. That's certainly in the cards for this storm. And if a flash flood warning is issued, make sure you seek higher ground and never drive through floodwaters. We're talking about rainfall totals that could be on the order of 8 to 12 inches across the area. So always remember, turn around and don't drown. Chief Meteorologist Chris Justice will have another update for you coming up on WYFF News 4 at 3. We'll see you then. At 3 o'clock at afternoon, meteorologist Griffin Hardy here with an update on Helene, but I don't want to discount the weather that's happening now. We actually have a tornado warning that's just been issued for Habersham County, Georgia. This is just one county outside of our viewing area, which is why we're not in continuous coverage with this. But we've had one storm that has produced some rotation with it, and it's merited a tornado warning until 3:30 p.m. This will come pretty close to clipping the western edge of Oconee County. So Chris Justice and I are in here watching this very closely on live Super Doppler 4, right about just east of Clarksville, just west of Highway 123, outside of Stevens County. This is also going to come close to Stevens County as well. So that's where we're watching the storm really, really closely. And if that tornado warning gets extended farther up the line, we will go into continuous coverage with it. But look at that. Some really strong rotation there, just south of Turnerville, just east of Clarksville, and right on top of US Highway 23. This is up in the hills, so it's possible we could get some rotation that's a little bit closer to the ground because of the higher elevation. So we'll keep our eyes on that very, very closely. But over towards Clarksville, over towards Turnerville, just outside our viewing area, tornado warning in effect. Now let's talk about Helene. This is the 2 o'clock advisory from the National Hurricane Center. The storm itself is at Category 1 strength, but notice how large it is. You've got outer bands going as far north as the Florida Keys and Fort Myers. It's already a very large storm, and the latest forecast track for it shows it is likely to make landfall in northwestern Florida as a Category 3 hurricane tomorrow evening. But then what happens after that is definitely more relevant to us because it's going to be passing through central Georgia and producing a ton of heavy rainfall. We're talking on the order of 8 to 12 inches for our area. And most of the rain that we're seeing right now is, again, not related to Helene. It's actually coming from a cold front, but gradually it's going to turn into rain that is coming directly from Helene. At least for the next, let's say, 24 hours. Yes, the rain's going to be pretty heavy, but we're not really going to see much wind with it. A lot of the wind doesn't really come into the picture until tomorrow evening and into Friday morning. Now, Friday morning is the day that that's the time you definitely want to avoid any unnecessary travel if you can help it, because that will come with heavy rain, gusts up to possibly 50 to 60 miles per hour. And on that future radar, you can see the center of the storm coming closer as we head into Friday morning, passing through southern and central Georgia early Friday. Again, 7 a.m. That is the time you definitely do not want to be out and about during a storm like this. It looks like it'll be pretty significant for us. Here's a look at the potential rainfall amounts we're looking at. on the order, again, of 8 to 12 inches in some places, especially over towards Walhalla, Clemson, Pickens, Hendersonville, places like that. Going to get absolutely just tons of heavy rain and possibly some flooding. So here's the bottom line. Have emergency supply kits ready to go. Have some extra cash on hand, extra prescriptions, things like that, and be prepared for widespread, possibly prolonged power outages. If a flash flood warning is issued, make sure you seek higher ground, and always remember, turn around, don't drown. That's what we always say during flash flood warnings. We'll have another update for you coming up on WYFF News 4 at 4. And if the possible tornado in Habersham County gets extended into counties in our area, we'll go into continuous coverage for that. We'll be right back.
Hi everybody, I'm live here in the Weather Center tracking the impacts that will be coming our way. We've got very heavy rain and active flash flooding already happening right now on live Super Doppler 4. Too much rain, in fact, in parts of Buncombe and Henderson County across western North Carolina and the upstate. The heavy rain settling in, and it's not going to let up tonight or tomorrow as we see this tropical system approach us. The rain in Asheville and Hendersonville's been on the order of about 3 inches already in the past 2 hours. That's why there's a flash flood warning here for West Henderson County, up I-26 into Asheville. Downtown Asheville included in that, that's already had 3 inches, and the system's still way down here in the Gulf. What we're getting now is from a front, but this system's going to aid in that front and giving us additional rain. It's a hurricane at 85 miles per hour right now. It makes landfall as a strong Category 4 hurricane, and because it's moving so quickly, those winds remain intact as it moves north. Atlanta will be dealing with winds that could be close to hurricane strength, and with us being just east of there on that worst side, we're going to see some very, very strong winds here. The wind field with the tropical storm force winds almost 360 miles wide when it makes landfall. So that shows you the power of this system. The cones that I showed you a minute ago is just where the center is going to go, not where the impacts go. Look at all the rain over us tomorrow into tomorrow night. That sets the stage for, as this system barrels our way, we're going to continue to get that heavy rain spread in, and with that comes the damaging winds. It could be close to 70 miles per hour with gusts. That means that trees could come down and power outages are possible. The worst of it, as I see it right now, is between 2, 3 a.m. early Friday morning through about 8, 9, 10 a.m. Friday mid-morning, and then beyond lunchtime, it's moving out quickly. We're actually seeing a little bit of sunshine locally. We'll have more updates as the evening comes to us. Make sure you stay with WYFF News 4. We'll keep you posted on Helene's impacts locally. Hi everyone, I'm live here in the Weather Center giving you updates on Helene moving toward the north. It'll make landfall as a strong Category 4 hurricane in Florida tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. Then it beelines it for us, where we're going to get very strong winds, unusually strong winds for a tropical system for our area. Because it moves so fast, those winds don't have much time to die down because it's near Atlanta about 12 hours after landfall. We're going to get some hard and heavy weather, especially on Friday. But before then, look at all the rain. This system's still way down here, but a front over us tonight and tomorrow is going to allow for a deluge of rain. A month's worth of rain in one day tomorrow, and the storm system hasn't even arrived. That's why we're talking about a 3-day total that's going to likely break records in Greenville, Spartanburg, and in Anderson, and up through Asheville. Look at this rain all day tomorrow. All day tomorrow night. And then as we get into tomorrow night into Friday, that's when the core itself starts to come overhead. That's when we add the wind to that rain. These wind gusts in this core are going to be 70 plus miles per hour. Now, some of you might be from the coast and say, hey, that's tropical storm strength, right? Well, our trees, our soil is made up a lot differently than the coast, and this will lead to some downed trees, some power outages, and lots of flooding across the area. So Friday morning's our time frame to take this seriously across the area. Right now, we're in the mid-70s. We'll be watching temperatures cool down tonight as that rain settles in. Coming up in our next hour, I'll be giving you more updates on Helene and much more coming on WYFF News 4 at 11 o'clock. Hi everyone, Chris Justice here with you live at the Weather Center. We've got a serious weather event unfolding for us as we move forward now through the next day or two. Tropical storm warnings have been issued all across western North Carolina, all of South Carolina, every single county in Georgia, and there are hurricane warnings just to our south and west. This system coming in is going to pack a punch, and part one's already here. This is a front that's over us. It's already leading to active flooding. We're expecting 15 inches of rain in some locations of western North Carolina through the next 48 hours. And some areas have already had, before the storm even gets here, with these two warnings right here for Henderson County, including Edneyville, back through Asheville, Hendersonville, Etowah, Mills River, those areas have already had 4 inches today. Just today, and the system's not even made its way toward land yet. Right now, heavy rain spreading into Greenville, Anderson, Pickens, back through Clemson. This is continuing to spread in across the area, and it's going to really spread in tonight and be a deluge tomorrow. We've got active flooding right now for Asheville and Hendersonville through Chimney Rock. These areas are the problem spots that I really expect to see some serious issues moving into this week, especially Thursday night, Friday, as we're going to have some flooding in those locations. On top of that, we did have a report of a tornado today east of Hendersonville and Lake Lure. A tornado was reported. No confirmation from the National Weather Service on this yet, but we've had some light damage to some barns there, and a tree did fall on a house over there. So watching this closely, and again, all that ahead of any impacts directly from the system yet. It sits down toward the Gulf and is moving north. Latest winds have it at 85 miles per hour. It's set to be a Category 4 now at landfall. Winds will be at 130 miles per hour there. Here's the deal. You got a stronger hurricane making landfall, moving quickly to the north. The cone does not mean where the impacts are going to go. This is just where the center is going to go. All the worst winds are on that east side. So we're going to take the beating here with this system across the upstate and western North Carolina. Sustained winds could be 40, 50 miles per hour. We could have gusts that get up to 60 or 70 miles per hour with this system Friday morning as it makes its way quickly to the north from the coast. Let me map this out for you. Brand new computer model just came in at the top of the hour. This moves up toward the north, makes landfall. Look at all this rainfall out ahead of the landfall. Comes in as a strong Cat 4. It gives us some heavy rainfall as we move hour by hour into the day here to where these stronger wind bands get into our area 4, 5, 6 a.m. very early on Friday morning, and then it continues to push toward the north. And by 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, we're actually clearing out. The rest of the day looks better, but after that, we've already had 10, 12 inches of rain in some locations. Now, coming up on WYFF News 4 at 11 o'clock, I'll have brand new data from the National Hurricane Center, and I'll show it to you. Have a good night. Hi everyone, it's 10 o'clock and I'm live here in the Weather Center. Keeping you updated on our weather situation. Already a serious weather situation unfolding, and our tropical system is still in the southern parts of the Gulf of Mexico. We've got flash flood warnings and in fact a tornado warning. One county outside of our area near Watauga County. But folks, I know many of you have students, kids and family at school there at App State. Right now that is under a tornado warning for Watauga County. We've got very heavy rainfall area wide right now with severe concerns and flood concerns. Boy, look at all this rain from Travelers Rest to Greenville through parts of Five Forks, Simpsonville, Malden. And this is the precursor rain. This is not even the main event, which comes in tomorrow and tomorrow night. Look at the steady, heavy rain across Henderson and Polk County. This leading to too much rain. These areas under the flash flood warnings here from Asheville to Henderson County, then eastern Henderson County right in here. This area has had 4+ inches of rain in the past 6 hours. And again, the main event has yet even to get going yet. We also had a report of a tornado today in western Rutherford County between Green Hill and Rutherfordton right there. Some debris down, some trees on a roof right there. Nobody was injured, thankfully, there. Hurricane Helene, winds are at 85 miles per hour. Here it sits way down here, so how's it impacting us now? We've got a front over us right here, and that southerly wind is just feeding all kinds of rain into our area. This system is now expected to be a Category 4 at landfall as it moves toward Florida, and because it's moving so quickly, it's still a Cat 1 just south of Atlanta. Think about that for a minute. As much as Atlanta's populated, a Cat 1 with 80 mile per hour sustained winds going right through it. We're on the east, the worst side of that. That's where some of those strong winds are getting into our area. We probably won't see gusts that high, but we will see, we won't see sustained winds that high, but gusts could get up to 70 miles per hour Friday morning as this system barrels toward the north right here. Let me map out a brand new computer model for you. We got very heavy rainfall right here, steady through tomorrow. It's going to be an all-out washout now through tomorrow. That continues tomorrow night, where this system has still yet to make landfall, and we're still seeing just pouring rain. Now, tomorrow night into Friday mornings, when this thing just books it our way, some of those main bands start getting into our region by 5 a.m., 6 a.m. Friday morning, and that's when I expect the risk for power outages and trees to come down, because this is when the wind is the worst. You got this whipping around right here, right into Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, and Asheville, and just as fast as it moved in, it moves out. By lunchtime, we even got a little bit of sunshine out there. Coming up on WYFF News 4 at 11 o'clock, I'll be mapping out Helene and all the impacts to our area and what you can expect for your town.